The spring market is here, and we're definitely seeing the increased competition in the real estate market. In fact, last month, 1 in 5 properties sold over their asking price in the city of Ottawa. In this video, we'll be diving into sales volume, average home prices, CMHC's latest housing report, and other real estate market news. Let's do this. My name is Roch St-Georges. I'm a real estate broker in Ottawa. I help families and individuals with the purchase, sale, or rental of real estate in our beautiful city. I'll be showing a few charts and graphs, so feel free to pause the video if you want to have a closer look at them. Let's start with sales volume. The Ottawa Real Estate Board saw a total of 1,488 residential and condominium sales in April. Freehold sales volume is down 17.9% year over year, while condo sales volume is down 29.1%. It's no surprise to me that the condo sales volume is down this much. We used to see investors buying up lots of those condo class properties as rental properties, but these don't make much sense unless one puts quite a large down payment on them. Interest rates rose quickly, making it hard to service the debt on these properties. Insurance costs, property taxes, water and sewer costs, as well as condo fees are also increasing fast. Although rents have increased over the past few years, these are not high enough to make these investments work. The province also capped rent increases to 2.5%, which can't make up for the fast increases in operating costs I just mentioned. Now, average sell prices. The average sell price for a freehold residential property was $747,000, down 9.7% year over year, representing a drop of about $80,000. The average sell price for condos, on the other hand, was $436,000, down 8.1% year over year, representing a drop of about $38,000. Year to date, freehold residential prices are up $71,000 or 10.4%, and condo prices are up $23,600 or 5.7%. Going forward, I'll be referring to figures for properties sold within the city of Ottawa and not including sales in neighboring towns such as Rockland, Carleton Place, Arnprior, and so on. In Ottawa, 276 properties sold over their asking price, representing 23.4% of all sales in April. To clarify, if you're a buyer looking to purchase in Ottawa, there's a 1 in 5 chance that you may need to compete and pay over the asking price to secure the property. On average, these properties sold for $22,210 over the asking price, or a median of $11,250 over the asking price. Now, I spoke to many buyers and agents over the past few days, and although many homes are selling over the asking price in a competing offer situation, there are many buyers that aren't looking to compete against other buyers. These buyers prefer to only submit offers on properties where there aren't any other buyers submitting at the same time as them. It's important to also keep in mind that although some of the sellers are receiving more than what they're asking for, these sellers are not getting prices seen in late 2021 and early 22. List price to sold price ratio. In April, sellers received on average 98.5% of their asking price, up from the low of 96.1% in December, but down from 108.7% at the same time last year. Now, continuous days on market. Freehold residential properties are selling in an average of 35 days, while condos are selling in an average of 45 days on market. Looking at this graph, we see the continuous average days on market. The average days on market has increased from April of last year, when both freehold and condo class properties were selling in an average of 11 days. Inventory. Ottawa has 1.5 months of residential freehold and condo inventory. This has been trending down since we saw a peak of 3.2 months in January. Inventory is, however, higher than April of last year, when Ottawa had about 24 days of inventory. We can also see from the graph that Ottawa has mostly been below 2 months of inventory since 2019, rising only above this level in June of 2022, and has recently come back down in March. Looking at active listings, In April, we had 1,754 active listings on the local MLS here in the city, down from 1,857 in March. Now, this 5-year chart doesn't look so bad. If we zoom out, however, and look at our 10-year chart of active listings, we can see that there's been less and less active listings on the MLS. This means that it's been getting gradually harder for buyers to secure a property as they've had to compete amongst other buyers. Less supply and increasing demand has been a contributing factor to these rising prices. But of course, this has been fueled by many other factors such as cheap money and increased immigration. We had 1,558 new listings in April, down slightly from March when we saw 1,602 new listings come to market. April saw roughly 31% less new listings than the same time last year. I suspect we will continue through May and June to see new listings below 2021 and 2022 levels. This isn't great for buyers, of course, but could be an opportunity for those who are looking to sell a property. Of course, those that are selling would gain from the increased buyer demand, but if your plan is then to buy a property following the sale, you'll likely find yourself in that same competitive buying environment. Now, let's talk about what we've been seeing in the news. First off, CMHC has come out with their spring 2023 report. They forecast that Canada will be seeing fewer new housing starts, i.e. new builds, in 2023 when compared to 2020, 2021, and 2022. In their baseline forecast, they expect 212,000 starts, and in their worst case scenario, 177,000 starts. This second worst case scenario takes into account the impacts of inflation and mortgage rates remaining higher for longer, which would translate into fewer housing starts. CMHC's report reads, in our baseline scenario, the economy is likely to see periods of negative economic growth in 2023 because of higher interest rates and increased economic uncertainty. This may translate into a modest recession to be followed by a recovery in 2024 and 2025. Looking at housing starts in Ottawa, we can see 2020, 2021, and 2022 saw roughly 10,000 to 11,000 housing starts each year. CMHC forecasts at most 10,300 units in 2023 and 9,800 units in 2024, and then 10,400 units into 2025. If their best case scenario for construction plays out, we could be at 2020 level, below 2021 levels and below 2022 levels at the time when we are ramping up immigration. CMHC did touch on how the rental market has seen increased demand since the rise in interest rates. They wrote, the challenge of affordability in home ownership will drive up demand for rental units. This demand will be added to rental demand coming from high immigration levels. Greater rental demand in the face of limited supply will lead to tighter conditions in already strained markets and lead to even higher rents. If you're interested in learning more about the Ottawa rental market, be sure to subscribe to the channel as I will be posting a video on Ottawa's rental market, which you won't want to miss. With recent talks about going back to the office to work, I wanted to touch on news surrounding office space in the downtown core. According to the real estate firm CBRE, Canada's overall national office vacancy rate increased to an all-time high of 17.7%. Here in Ottawa, the office vacancy rate is at 13.2%. They also state that in Canada, there's very little new office projects planned, with most of the construction starts happening in the suburbs. In fact, over the last 12 months, suburban office projects accounted for 80% of office construction start. This is a stark contrast to 2018 when they accounted for 17.4%. Here's an interesting chart showing the national downtown versus suburban vacancy rates. Historically, suburban office space had a higher vacancy rate. This changed at the end of 2021. We saw the downtown office space being higher than the suburban. Finally, an article from CanadianMortgageTrends.com, Bank of Canada watching the trend of longer amortization periods among borrowers. So we talked about how amortizing a mortgage over a longer period of time would reduce the monthly mortgage payment. The article reads, major lenders like RBC, BMO, and CIBC are seeing sharply higher percentages of their mortgage portfolios with amortization periods north of 30 years. None of these banks had mortgages with amortization periods over 30 years in October of 2021. As of the fourth quarter, roughly 30% of their mortgage portfolio had amortization periods above 30 years. The article mentions that the popularity of the variable rate mortgage has dropped from about 55% of all new mortgages in late 2021 to 25% today. We can also read a quote from Tiff Macklin at the Bank of Canada. Borrowers renewing their mortgage this year will feel the bite of higher rates. The response to a 4.5% interest rate depends largely on the borrower's financial situation, and the Bank of Canada's own research suggests poor households may be taking longer to pay down their mortgage. No kidding. Lots of things are at play in this real estate market. If you want to discuss your real estate needs for 2023, please feel free to reach out using the information on the screen. If you found this video informative, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you know someone that is looking to buy or sell real estate in the coming months, be sure to share the video with them. Thank you so much. Merci. Ciao. This is the end of the video. If you liked what you heard and saw, please feel free to watch this video here or that video there. Thank you. Ciao.